This episode reminds me of a My Little Pony episode.
And how is that? I mean, well, before we get started too far into that, season 1, episode 5, Pria.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of a cross between a My Little Pony episode and an episode of Next Generation.
All right.
But the My Little Pony aspect is because of the well, there were a few of these episodes, but most recently, the one with Rainbow Dash and the Wipeouts, also the one with Pinkie Pie being jealous of Gilda, because it's one of those, I swear I actually care and this is why I'm worried, but yes, I'm a little jealous. And we both had to learn that moral lesson of, I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, well, and sometimes suspicion is deserved.
Yeah, sometimes it's warranted, even if you seem to be just jealous over it.
Yes.
And you should always follow your gut.
Unless you're the captain.
Yeah.
In which case,
hey, he was not thinking with his gut. He was thinking lower. To be fair.
yes.
Although I did like that practical joke.
Yeah, the practical jokes were an interesting B plot to this whole thing. It's like the Mr. Potato Head was brilliant. Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah.
I did actually lull at that one.
It was just like, just because it's so, it's one of those things, you do it with a straight face and it's just the actor inside the suit is doing a fantastic job of giving no indication that he knows that there's parts on him. That's got to be so hard to not for him to not give away that he's he's got practice with it anyway, because he's not really supposed to emote too much anyway. But
I wonder how many takes it took to get that with a straight reaction,
especially from the rest of the crew. I mean, the guy playing him, he's got practice maintaining sort of that very very neutral body language, but everybody else has got to be just, all right, just focus on what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing. Don't laugh at the robot. Don't laugh at the robot. It's just like, I imagine 10 seconds after they said cut, it was just everybody just lost it.
Yes,
most likely. It's probably very similar to what Brent Spiner went through.
Oh yeah, especially some of those.
By the way, I'm back. My computer froze. It happens often.
For now.
At least until I get a new machine.
Ask Donatello. He does machines.
He does do machines, and he does them quite well.
Yes. I haven't heard any complaints from the machines.
Let's not talk about criminal machine sex.
Well, hey, it worked for Morty.
Anyway.
Well, so yeah, I mean, if you take into account Picard's statement in Data's trial, it's like, we're all machines, just of a different sort.
Yeah.
So the episode starts off before we get into After Dark territory here. with the they're
Seinfeld.
sitting they're sitting there watching Seinfeld on the viewing screen. So it's like we're driving along, but yeah, we don't need to see where we're going right now. I got like dials for that. It's on autopilot.
Well,
It's
and
cool.
there's like 50 screens around them. So even if just one person is going, oh yeah, checking that, because I'm sure if we can put move things from one screen to another, I'm sure a starship of that caliber can easily go, yes, I'm rerouting those controls to here so we can use the viewing screen as a big TV. Done.
Oh yeah.
I wonder what the night crew gets up to.
Oh, you don't want to know.
Because if they each take 8-hour shifts, then you got the main crew, then you've got the night crew 1, and then you got the night crew 2. It's like crew
Shift
1,
one.
crew 2, crew 3. It's like
Shift 1, shift 2.
yeah, it's like yeah.
So what did you guys watch last night? Don't check the browser history.
Dude, it's cool. I used incognito. Though Command may be curious as to why I was streaming that particular thing to the bridge.
I purged the I purged the cookies. Bulimia is a serious mental condition. That's not what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be Isaac's reaction. Why do yes, but I've heard bulimia is a very serious condition. Why are you treating it so lightly? That's not what I meant.
Yeah. I do appreciate how they throw humor in so subtly that you still get the Star Trek feel of it. Well, you still get a few lulls.
Well, it's what it is to me is it's like it's a somewhat more realistic next gen. Like they, yes, there's there's a lot of serious stuff, and we get into some serious issues here and there, and some really cool plots and whatnot, like this one. But they're not going to be they're not going to be so
Uptight.
uptight. Yeah, because I understand Enterprise, best of the best of the best, so everybody on that ship is the best of the best. Flagship, you have the best crew in the fleet, but this feels like this is appropriate because they're not as stiff as all the flagship officers. They're all the best of the best. They're very serious. This is that sort of exploration ship that's sort of they're not the best, but they're a serviceable crew, and they get up to hijinks from time to time, and they have some laughs. It's like they're not as serious, but they're still effective.
Made evident with the statement of you were no one's first choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll do. We need captains, and you'll do.
That'll do, Ed. That'll do.
Yeah.
You just quote "babe" to me. Maybe.
It's judging by their enjoyment of
Classic cinema.
Movies from this era. That wouldn't surprise me if he put Babe on at some point. The fact that Babe made it out that far.
Good movie's a good movie.
Right?
It's okay. I wouldn't expect it to make it out that far. I mean, Godfather, yes. Babe, probably not.
I wasn't really into Godfather. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of Babe either, but I don't like pigs.
Ah, come on.
I've never seen Godfather.
I saw a little bit of it, and I'm like, eh.
Heresy! Heresy, you all!
I've never seen it, never really been interested.
That's not my type of movie, is all. It's just
Same.
eh.
Just
So
heresy.
I mean, I
Blasphemy.
tried just because it's like, dude, you have to. That's like the thing. And I'm like, fine, I'll give it a shot. Just like I tried to watch Titanic and I fell asleep 5 minutes in
Well, I agree with you on the Titanic.
because, oh, it's what you gotta watch. And I'm like, I never watched.
Gotta watch anything. Sorry.
It's just like, no thanks.
Anyway, moving along, past the slapstick, they pick up the distress signal of a ship falling into a star on top of a comet, I believe.
Yeah.
And they manage to rescue the pretty occupant just in the nick of time.
She wasn't really that pretty.
Well, for Mercer, he was smitten.
Yeah. Mercer and
whatever your opinion on her is, Mercer thought she was pretty.
yeah.
He thought
Like
a
I
little
said,
more than pretty, but
Huh?
he thought a little more than pretty, but I'll leave it at that. Given what they do later, but
He was thinking with the wrong head.
yeah. So anyway, so they get back to the Orville by the skin of their teeth, and she gets the non-hamstery room.
Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah. You'd think at that point they would have developed some deodorizers that could really work on it. Or,
Just not for Breeze, because that stuff is awful.
What?
Just not for Breeze, because that stuff is awful.
Well, I mean, you could do some sort of like, was it Starship Mine or something? The Picard gets trapped during a bio sweep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they almost were caught in a biosweep. The
Yeah, do that, but do that on a. Well, you'd want to take everything out first, and then do a bio sweep. Yeah, and then just clean it all out, and then that would maybe get rid of the smell. Though it may be just something that you still can't get rid of. It's a bit like the common cold. You can't really do much for it.
or glitter.
Or glitter. Oh gosh. I hope by this
Send
point they have
glitter to
figured
your
out
enemies.
anti-glitter by this point in the future.
It is the herpes of the art world.
Send glitter to your enemies.
Hey, ask Webby. It's useful.
Well, that seems like that would have been a that would have been a prank to pull on. If you're another captain and you're visiting somebody else's ship and they're being a bit of a jerk about things, you just release glitter into the air ducts and let it spread out over the ship.
They're poisoning us. No, it's just glitter. That's even worse.
At least there's an antidote to poison. Some poisons.
Yes.
You can never get rid of glitter. And that's all through the air duct, so as soon as we clean it, it'll just be more of it.
So glitter
That's
is
it.
the
We need a new
tribbles
ship.
of the art world.
Well, it doesn't multiply, it just doesn't go away.
Yeah,
No, I think
Though it
it'll-
seems like it does.
that's it. We need a new ship. What's wrong? They
Glitter.
sent us glitter.
They glitter bombed us.
Oh.
We'll have to do a whole glitter sweep to get rid of that. Let's see. So, at the cocktail party, you know, the Mercer and Levask talk about the war weight at the Salem witch trial sort of museum.
I kind of want to go check that out.
Well, I'm not sure if they have the would have the holographic thing that you know they
Yeah, but you don't need. You trust me. You don't need the holographic thing to have it entertaining. I love museums.
Well, yes.
Never again the burning times.
Yes, I do like the it is a fun it is a fun it's a cool story, just like defiantly saying more weight because they kept putting you know confess you're a witch and we'll stop putting weight on top of you. And she yells more weight. So you know, Grayson possibly with a tinge of jealousy. Possibly just, you know, suspicion. A little bit of both.
Suspicious.
Suspicious. She looks into Pria Levask and can find nobody in the Vega Mining Consortium. Which, you know, she talks with Catan and she's like, well, Mercer and Catan both say, you know, it's mining companies tend to take pretty poor records, so you know it could just be a mess. But she's been there a year, which to an extent, you know, you'd think after a year they'd have you in their records pretty solidly. And if you just started, they might not get that in there immediately. And if you leave, they may not ever trade a formal record, but at any rate, under the guise of a radiation sweep, Catan investigates Levask's room, and they find a silver box.
You don't want to know what was in that.
Oh, no. I just realized, no. Thankfully, this one you can't look into.
Thank God.
It seems to have no means of observing what's going on inside.
That's a secret.
She catches them, and they have to stop their search early. Meanwhile, the captain is angry that they searched without cause, and Catan gets a reprimand, and
At least he tried to stand up. At least Racing tried to stand up for her and was like, no, it was my fault. I ordered her to do it. It's like, yes, but she's still chief of security. She should know better.
yeah.
Although really, in those situations, it's like my direct superior just told me to do something douchey.
Yeah, well, there have been, there comes the whole, come back to Star Trek, you know, the claim I was only following orders has been used far too many times in our history to trying to absolve oneself of, or has led to terrible tragedies. So, yeah, think for yourself a little bit, and if you get an order that's illegal, just stand up for yourself. Let's see. So they get caught in a dark matter storm. Voss convinces Mercer and Isaac to flood space with neutral axion particles through their weapons array, which renders the dark matter visible, and she leads them through the dark matter. And except for the communications array is completely down.
Well, I guess that storm didn't matter to them.
Yeah, well, and the communications array taken down is rather...
Suspicion.
There we go. So afterwards, so she tells him, hey, there's a consortium, thing a few miles away, a day's travel or something that way. We can just stop there, you can drop me off, and, from the outside, everything looks kosher. Nothing has been shown to be weird yet.
Yeah.
The suspicions don't seem to be valid yet.
Aside from the missing leg.
Sorry, what?
Aside from the missing leg.
Well, yes, the missing leg is a thing, but that has nothing to do with Pria.
True.
And everything to do with Isaac.
I mean, aside from the fact that the leg was found in her room.
Yes. Somehow falling through the ceiling.
I love the, okay, that wasn't me. Look, she gave them when it fell through the ceiling. She's just like, okay, I've done a lot of things since I got here. That wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah, and take the leg. Yes, take the leg.
Of course, take the leg.
Yes.
I guess you could say that something strange was afoot in that situation. Yes.
Anyway,
Spoken like a true pun pony. Spoken like a true pun pony.
Yes.
So, Mercer takes the Vask on a date in the environmental simulator, the holodeck, in order to a recreation of Unuk 4, and better get to know each other. They
a little well.
Yes, they get each other. They get to know each other very well, biblically, you might say, and
oh my!
And
we find out that Mercer's really bad with pillow talk.
Yeah, a little bit.
I pity whoever has to clean the holodeck when people are done living out their fantasies.
They went back to his room though.
Well, I mean, when people aren't going back to their room to take care of their passions, which that may imply, employ a biofilter sweep.
Yeah.
Or at least a black light.
And a very annoyed janitor.
Use a black light in there.
I'd imagine everything would suddenly light up.
You'll go blind.
Well,
It would-
if it's a hard light projection, you could just you could have it programmed that when everything ends, it creates hard light projections underneath all the emissions and lifts them up, and then lifts them up off of the ground and pushes them into a receptacle, and does a little sweep before the next person comes in.
Or just when the hologram, once they exit the chamber, they delete all all matter into the photonic state. So
Spoken like a true Osgood.
yes. It's a viable reason. I mean, it would work. And it would probably be a little easier than... Huh?
Just use a flamethrower. Burn the whole thing.
Well, no, I mean, where do you think they get the source for the replicators?
Everything is recycled.
Exactly.
The atoms are broken apart and stored. And
exactly.
Then you make
like I didn't like Enterprise very much, but I did love that scene where he had to explain where poop goes on the Enterprise.
Yeah,
a poop question?
Yes, today's poo is tomorrow's steak.
Yeah, no, tomorrow's boots. That's how he described it.
That's how he described it. But yes,
everything gets recycled.
Everything.
Oh,
yeah. Boots,
my.
toss them in there, and it gets broken down and recycled.
Yeah, they would get broken down into the molecular components and then reassembled in either a replicator or a food dispenser.
It's like, oh God, this tastes like shit. Why, thank you. I made it myself.
Which brings about an interesting question. You have. What if you had creatures that had evolved from like aphids or something, and they give off a honeydew. They excrete a honeydew, which is enjoyed by people until they realize where it came from. Who made this? It's pretty tasty. It's nice and sugary. Oh, that was Lieutenant Zixax or something of the Aphidodus species.
Lieutenant Alien name.
Oh, you mean he didn't actually put this together? He excreted
Literally
this?
made it.
Yes. Excuse me.
I just need to go. Thank him.
Hey, don't forget, we're also recycling that too.
You'll be eating that tomorrow. Well, don't go throwing it up today. You'll just be eating it again tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow's soup.
Worth it, I guess.
So at any point, any rate, so okay, they're regenerating Malloy's leg, and Yaphet discovers the metallic box planted inside the computer system, which can't be removed, and it's the same metal box they found when they raided her room. They storm her again, and she tells them she's a time traveler from the 29th century. The Mask takes control of the ship and tells them that Orville was supposed to be destroyed in the black matter storm, And so, she basically collects items from the past and takes them back to the future that were famously destroyed. So that, that's already going to be destroyed. So we don't actually break any, temporal things. We just remove them from the time stream after they were supposed to be destroyed anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, temporal investigations would probably still have a fit, but she's not really, she's not changing the timeline any.
Although the whole overarching concept of how it ended was kind of, they created a paradox by surviving, because she survived in order to bring them through the wormhole. They destroyed the wormhole, which made her never show up, which means they never survived, but they still survived.
Well,
That's confusing.
She could also just have been lying.
True.
That would solve the paradox.
Yup.
But I mean, she was telling the truth about the rest of that. About how they were supposed to have not existed, supposed to have died, and that's why she went to collect them.
Yeah, but I'm curious what the destroying the one end of the wormhole, how does that work out temporally? Does it destroy it along a fourth dimensional string where everything is a fourth dimensional sort of thing where you destroyed it at one point and it destroys it for the full timeline, or does it afterwards? Is it destroyed and therefore they can no longer travel back? Well, of course, then if you killed it now, by the time it gets to her time period, it won't be there, so she can't travel back and ever visit anybody. But again, then you come into your paradox again. If she was telling the truth, it's a paradox. If she was lying, it isn't. And she's being very naughty with the timeline.
My head hurts.
I hate temporal mechanics.
Yeah, I love it.
To quote a, to quote a certain chief engineer, I hate temporal mechanics.
There are several good first engineers who probably hate temporal mechanics. Chief engineers. Words.
Yes.
Those do exist somewhere.
I don't believe you.
But you can trust me. I'm Osgood and Webby.
Actually, that makes me trust you less. No, honestly, it makes me trust her a lot more implicitly. Because Osgood and Webby rock.
Yes.
But you never know when something's going to go awry.
And then they will have the answers.
I didn't tell you to trust me on an action. I told you to trust me on a fact. There's the difference. You can trust me on facts. You can't trust me not to get into trouble, though.
Mm-hmm. I trust you to be able to get out of the trouble you find yourself in.
True. Only if I have my grappling hook or my
Josh.
my other inhaler. Or Josh.
Or your ray gun.
It's not a ray gun. But they probably needed a ray gun to destroy the wormhole.
Indeed. Good segue.
Thank you. I ride it all over.
Oh my.
Not that one.
That one's for your birthday.
Anyway, so
All right.
it turns out that's what happened to Amelia Earhart.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I guess Janeway's got, Voyager's got her explanation for what happened, and Orville has its explanation for what happened.
Yep.
And the best part is, neither of them are wrong.
True. Because Schrodinger's theory. Until it's observed, both can be true.
That is true.
And since it can never be observed because it is in the past and we have yet to invent time travel, they both exist.
I was just thinking because of the fact that they're entirely different universes and have to have a different explanation. But yeah, that works too.
Well, if the universe is infinite and there's, maybe there's a recombination where they do exist. They do exist in the same universe.
They could cross over into alternate universes. I mean, they don't have to be parallel.
True.
Well, then.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on the Orville?
None that I can think of.
I've never seen the show, so I'm just learning it from you guys.
Oh, it's a watch. It's really good. It's
This is what Star Trek should have. This is what Discovery should have been.
And damn, good timing. It's 10.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Are you-
It's 12. Shut up.
yeah, it's
Wow.
12.
It's noon.
Yes.
It's high noon.
We Western folk
I am not
say
high.
it's 10 o'clock.
Noon.
It could maybe noon, but I'm not high.
If it's high noon, then I need to hide because that means someone's aiming at me.
It's okay. They're just aiming a ray gun. Unless you're an Auton, you're fine.
Well, the thing is, McCree's gun doesn't shoot normal bullets anyway, so I think I'm screwed no matter what.
Oh, goodbye, stream.
but
people
he's your
watching this.
Huckleberry.